What up, it's your boy Pat, aka That Varsity Geek, here with another weekend recommendation video for you guys on the weekend of May 29th through the 31st. Now, we're still in a really dry sports season. There's not a whole lot of content coming out, but if you're looking for sporting content, I suggest that you check out ESPN's new 30 for 30 titled Lance. Now, this is the newest installment of ESPN's 30 for 30 series, which is a documentary series that goes through a whole bunch of different sports, different athletes, and a lot of different sporting content. And this new documentary titled Lance was split up into two parts. The first of which was broadcast last Sunday, and the second of which will be coming out this weekend, May 31st at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And also, if you weren't able to catch the first part will be rebroadcast at 7 p.m., so it'll be rebroadcast before the second part comes out later. Now, this documentary is meant to be a definitive look at the career of the cyclist Lance Armstrong. And the hope for this documentary was that it was going to be completely unbiased and not really affected by how Lance wanted himself portrayed, but just to give the real, honest opinion about Lance Armstrong and his sports career. Now, Lance Armstrong is one of the most accomplished cyclists that the world has ever seen, winning 7 Tour de France championships all in a row, as well as winning other cycling events. However, amidst years of whispers, it was discovered that he had been taking PED since 1996 in order to help with his cycling stamina, which is obviously a violation of any sporting rule. Now, in 1996, Armstrong was diagnosed with testicular cancer at the age of 25, and he was out of the cycling game for 2 years. And during that time is when he started taking the PEDs in order to get back into cycling. Because when he came back, he had a pretty seamless transition and pretty much had instant success. And his story served as inspiration for millions of people out there. All the people who had cancer and didn't think that they were going to ever get back to normal, people who really just were struggling with stuff. It gave them inspiration to really be able to come back, work hard, and really achieve the goals that they wanted. And because of that, it's understandable why when this doping scandal was revealed, it hit so hard. So I mean, this documentary takes an interesting look at one of the greatest athletes of that time and how a doping scandal really tarnished his career. So just watching how it all plays out and honestly getting a lot of the background to what was going on should be interesting to watch. I'll be interested to see what his opinions are about it as opposed to how other people react to it. And I mean, I'm going to give everybody a fair chance. I know that this probably wasn't an easy decision for him, and I'm not trying to vilify him or demonize him for it. I'm just interested in getting his perspective as well as the documentarian's perspective on everything. And for all you nerds and you geeks out there, if you're looking for something to watch, I suggest you check out Parasyte The Maxim, which is on Netflix now. So, Parasyte The Maxim was an anime that originally ran from 2014 to 2015, but was put on Netflix on May 15th of this year. It centers on a 17-year-old named Shinichi Izumi, who really is just living an average life with his parents up in Japan. However, one night, strange worm-like creatures called parasites appear on Earth. And once they're in your brain, they can take complete control of your body and do whatever they want with it, including shaping it and morphing it into different forms so that they can fight. Now, one tries to take over Shinichi and crawl up through his nose, but he actually wakes up during that process and he puts his hand in the way, and so the parasite actually ends up infecting his hand rather than taking over his brain. And because of that, both him and the parasite, which will be called Miki, are both able to retain their consciousnesses in their body. Miki able to control his hand, and Shinichi really control of every other part of his body. Now, most parasites devour people for food, which is why they're going around fighting and killing people. But because Miki is inside Shinichi's hand, he gets his sustenance from whatever Shinichi eats. So he doesn't really have to go out and kill anything in order to eat. Whenever Shinichi eats, he just gets his energy from that too. And so the two of them really just have to go around fighting other parasites and trying to stay alive. Because once the other parasites know that Miki is only in his hand and Shinichi is not really a parasite, they want to eat him. Not only because they just want to eat him because they want sustenance, but also because they want to get rid of him. So if you're a fan of horror or gorier types of anime, this is right up your alley. I mean, the fights between the parasites and some of the humans are crazy, bloody, and just utterly ridiculous at times. I mean, you've got people's like heads opening up with teeth and just chomping down and eating people. It's crazy. And I mean, the way that the parasites use their intellect to really manipulate the people around their host, it's actually kind of interesting and kind of impressive. Because the parasites really don't have any emotions. Their whole goal is, I'm just trying to survive and I'm trying to eat. And it's also interesting to see Shinichi's development throughout the entire show. He goes from a really timid, shy person to kind of a really super arrogant and honestly kind of a jerk type of person. But it's interesting just to see how all the experiences that he goes through really shape him and really change the way that he acts. So if you're looking for something interesting to watch and you want a show where anybody is up on the chopping block at any given time, this show is right up your alley. And if you're looking for some video games to play this weekend, I suggest that you check out Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Now, the original Xenoblade Chronicles came out on April 6, 2012 for the Wii, and this is just an HD remaster of that game for the Nintendo Switch, and its release date is today, April 29th. Now, Xenoblade Chronicles is an open-world action RPG game from developer Monolith Soft, and it was the first game in the Xenoblade saga. And the Xenoblade games are kind of a sub-series of the whole Xeno series, which includes games like Xenogears and Xenosaga. So this game takes place on the bodies of two frozen titans named Bionis and Mechanus. So the descendants of Bionis are really flesh and blood creatures, including a human-like race called the Homs. And the descendants of Mechanus are robot-like creatures that are called Mechons. And these two sides are perpetually at war with each other. And the key to the Homs being able to fight against the Mechons is a special weapon called the Monado. And the Monado is a really strong sword that's only able to be used by a couple of people, and it's really humanity's biggest weapon against the Mechons. So one day, the protagonist Shulk's colony is attacked by the Mechons, and then during that fight, he finds out that he is actually able to wield the Monado. And so he saves the rest of his colony trying to push the Mechons back. And after this, he goes on an adventure with a couple of his friends, as well as some other people that you meet along the way, in order to get revenge and to defeat the Mechons. Now, this game features an open world playstyle, which really allows the player to go anywhere that they want at any given time, really freeing up the player to experience the entire world as they want. And that was really big and huge for the time that this dropped in 2012. The game focuses on a real-time, action-based fighting system in which you're in control of one character at a time. And in these fights, the characters do normal attacks automatically, so you're really in control of moving the characters around, using their secret arts and their stronger moves as you see fit, really developing strategies for how you're going to fight the enemies. And there's also a bunch of different systems in the game, such as your affection system, which is going to affect how people treat you in the world, side quests and odd jobs, which allow you to grow affection or to get different items and things like that, and just a bunch of little quirky, interesting systems that they've added to the game to really make it an interesting and enjoyable experience. The story for the game was really good and really interesting. You meet a lot of characters along your way, and based on your affection with them, you get to learn a little bit more about them or go see special scenes with them that you can only see with high affection. So it's really up to you to delve into the characters and figure out their motivations, why they're the way they are, and all the little details about them. The game was highly reviewed when it first came out, and it was one of the best games that was on the Switch system as a whole. And now this definitive edition is going to have a lot of new stuff. It's going to have enhanced visuals, updated UIs, better controls, as well as a whole bunch of other features. That's also adding a new post-game story element that'll allow you to get even more playability out of the game and really expand on the adventure of Xenoblade Chronicles after the main campaign is over. And because of that, I think that this definitive edition is something that any RPG fan or any Xenoblade Chronicles fan should definitely pick up. And so, like I said, that drops today, May 29th. So do yourself a favor, go ahead and grab it. So that's just some more recommendations that I had for you guys this weekend. Let me know what you think. Did you ever play the original Xenoblade Chronicles? Are you excited to see the second part of Lance Armstrong's documentary? How do you feel about the whole doping scandal situation? What are your thoughts on Parasyte The Maxim? What are your thoughts on Xenoblade Chronicles, both the original and the definitive version that are coming out? Are you going to pick it up? Favorite characters? All of that kind of stuff. Just drop it in the comments and let's have a discussion about it. I've been Pat, the Varsity Geek, with another weekend recommendation video for you guys. Peace out. Have a great weekend.